Hi there, Jason here with ArboursAbroad, and welcome to the channel. You must be here because you're wondering how to screw into van walls, or you just want to see it done before you have a go at it yourself. Well, don't worry, it's not as crazy as it may seem. As long as you have a few of the right things or the right tools, you'll be able to do it smoothly yourself. So you have three different screws, as you can see here. You have the self-tapping or self-drilling metal lathe screws. You have the Craig jig kind of pre-drilling screws that self-drill themselves as well. And then you just have your normal like wood screw. The best one to use if you're trying to get through directly straight through metal would be your self-drilling screw, as you can see here. And that is just for kind of securing things like that when you don't need to actually hold and use a lot of support. The next one is the one that we're going to use here in this example, and this is your Craig jig. So you have a little hole that you've pre-drilled, and this can actually go through the metal very easily. You just need a little bit of extra force, especially when trying to get through that metal. And the best thing to use in tandem with that is a impact drill driver, and that'll actually get it through the metal. But the third option would be to, if you don't have the other available to you, is to use a metal drill bit, and then that would be followed up with your just regular metal screw. One thing to note is when you are screwing into metal, it's going to start exposing that newly drilled in metal, and it can be susceptible to rust. Even though it's not really that important once you've screwed it in and it's been all covered, if you are a little more on the anal side of things and really want to be particular about treating every part of your metal that could be exposed, something to use is a Rust-Oleum primer, and that will treat it before it rusts and will prevent it from rusting as well. You can use that. We haven't used it in all these screws, but other places that we thought would be a little bit more susceptible to moisture and wetness, we were actually spraying it. One other thing to note is to make sure you're not going to be drilling into any plastics or anything that, like for example, wiring. Know where all your wiring is prior to your screw, because it could ruin it and you could have a really bad electrical problem. So there's no electrical back there. Pretty good, eh?
Perfect.
One last thing to consider when screwing in your van walls is to consider the thickness of the metal. You don't want to accidentally penetrate one layer of metal and then penetrate through to the outside body of your van. So know the thickness so that when you're drilling into the cavity of the van, you're not going to go through to the outside. The next thing is know if it's like thin or thick metal, because that will also dictate if you need to pre-drill the metal prior to screwing in the screws into your van walls. And then the last thing to consider is don't do anything too close to a window, because that is just a big mistake waiting to happen. It can crack very easily. If you get too close, it just changes the structure of the perimeter of the window, and you could actually crack your window on that, and that could be a very expensive fix. So don't do that. With all that said, that is how you do a screw in your van walls how-to tutorial. If you're new around here, stay tuned for more videos on our whole van build on this 1992 Toyota Previa. Catch you in the next one.